Yep. Ding, ding, ding. This is an interesting angle for the sun. Whatever. Alright, this is part 2 of depth, survival, and necessary enhancement through, pushing yourself up to challenges, being okay with the tension, and sorry, got a little distracted there. Car made a weird sound. Anywho, alright, we're good. So the fact that we're living life, this is a previously on that video. So previously on depth, we're getting it inevitably through our life experiences, but the deeper pockets of life that we're experiencing that are shaping us into a shape that is becoming less and less changeable because we are routinizing, we're doing similar things over the days, weeks, months, years, if not decades. Are we truly proud of the shape of depth of our lives that we've created for ourselves, right? Are you really actually proud of the legacy that you're leaving behind if you die right now? Is this depth that you've been accumulating really actually you on that deepest heart and soul level? Is it? Right? Consider it. So, there's depth, there's surviving, and then there is enhancing. So, we'll do the enhancing part first. And essentially, right, I'm thinking whether or not I'm going to finish, let me just finish summarizing the first video. So, in order to enhance your life, you're going to have to go through inevitable challenge, inevitable going against the grain, inevitable uphill battling, because it's something that's new, it's something that's different, and it's uncomfortable. It is what it is. It's new, it's different, it's not your norm, so it's not second nature, it's not easy for you yet, but you gotta get in on the heart and soul and be like, is this something that I truly actually want to do and eventually want to become, right? And the depth plays in, because becoming something, it only happens in time through experience. That's what wisdom's all about. Experience and it essentially becoming you so that you can just emit it, and you're just a walking box of wisdom. And wisdom, in a sense, is synonymous with depth. So, but, only through inevitable challenges. They are challenges because they're not easy for you, because they're not normalized for you yet. And to normalize them, one step at a time, is to enhance your level of comfort. It's getting outside of your comfort zone and honestly expanding it. Alright, so boom, that's the summarization of part 1. Done deal. Woo! Okay, so now to get more in depth on the aspect of sorry, I just saw a funny sign. To get back on the aspect specifically of enhancement. And this is at a heart and soul level. And that's what will carry us through. Because why, at the end of the day, what motivation is really, and this is a thought experiment for you, for me, for anyone, obviously. What really is a big motivator? What are the big motivators for you? Now, it seems, at least to me, like the common big motivators that are not heart and soul fulfillment, the motivators are essentially relating to money, relating to relationships, relating to family, relating to societal standards. And, none of these are inherently good or bad. Now, you could argue for the procreation, right? Like the having children as inherently good to forward the species. Cool. That does make a lot of sense, even though as a man you can donate to a sperm bank, as a woman you can donate eggs. They can do that. You don't have to necessarily be involved. Anyway, so these prime motivators, just in general society, not good, not bad, just it is. And I've noticed that, the more and more I'm in touch with my heart and soul, the more I get in touch with and do research on indigenous cultures, the Native Americans, the Aboriginals, the what would you call it? I don't know, primal indigenous cultures that use shamanism as a way of healing and therapy and things like that. The more just down and dirty, rooted, natural ways of being a human. That's the stuff that I'm really into and am living out. How this connects with the prime motivators is, I'll be totally honest in saying that my prime motivator is heart and soul fulfillment and the love and the care that exudes naturally from being in touch with this, being in touch with the intuition and the sort of natural integrity of what is actually right and true in this moment, in this situation, and listening to it and acting upon it. Just plain and Jane, like plain and simple. And even though living this way doesn't make me much money for now, right? Everything can change because I'm getting better and better at giving in more avenues, right? Not just through my jobs and through my friends and family, but through content creation and other modalities. Writing books, writing online, right? Just giving. We'll see what comes of the returns of those, to what extent, right? So, back to enhancement. So, for enhancement, how we don't necessarily need to enhance our lives, even though we do it naturally. So we can say it this way: we don't necessarily have to do it consciously, because life will show us in very many ways, straight up, where we're either not at the pace that we should be at, or we're dropping the ball in these certain aspects. We need to either pick up the pace or slow down the pace, or be more giving or less giving and more restful, right? All of these things. So yes, to a large extent in life, life in its many ways, you could call it life, you can call it the universe, you can call it God, whatever. Life in many ways, shapes and forms already bestows upon us the places and spaces where we're out of balance. Physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, dare I say spiritually, etc., etc. So, in that sense, the enhancements will just happen. And let's go further into this, because where does the I, the individual, really play its role? If, honestly, if life, if God is doing seemingly most of the grunt work, where are we in deepest participation? And in my life and my observations in the lives of others, it's how we react, how we respond to life, being life, giving life, showing aspects of life that are out of balance, that could be put back into balance, for the ifs and the whens of our response, of our participation, and the levels therein of response and participation, right? That was essentially the main subject of my first book. Participate. The subtitle was Participate in This Ridiculous Sacred World. And I honestly stand by that. I stand by many things that, are in coincidence, and, lockstep in parallels to that concept, but it's essentially that ballpark of concepts. Hey, life shows you things. Participate. And this is where the enhancement comes in, because like the topic of the crossroads that I've brought up, you are brought something. You are brought to a crossroads. What are you going to do about it? And at the risk of sounding a bit intense, and we'll use the word intense, where for me to say every moment is a crossroads at varying levels of intensity, where it's like, yeah, in this moment, do I stay in this lane or do I get in another lane? This is a pretty low intensity, like low stakes situation. But we can certainly, in mere minutes from now, I or you be put in a situation, again, like mere minutes from now, it can happen, where we're put in a situation, what you gonna do, a crossroads situation of high intensity, of high stakes, and you, feel it at a heart and soul level. You're like, it feels like the decision, the level of participation that I'm about to do is going to be pretty impactful for the next however many, iterations of my life, right? Because I was going to say days and weeks, but a moment, a singular moment, can affect you for the rest of your life, but in low intensity. Or a moment can affect you, let's just say, for a month, but in high intensity, where it's just like, man, I'm really down. It could be in terms of, let's just say, your ability to pay all your bills, where you're like, man, I'm going to be absolutely scraping, absolutely lean and tight, this entire month. This is going to be super intense. But I know that as I'm moving forward in this, as I'm like really vigilant, like really diligent about my choices, it's going to be intense, but it does seem like within a month, like it's going to be back to a certain homeostasis where from then on out, it'll be pretty solid. So that as an example. So in general, the fact that we're always at these crossroads that can be against our will, that is what it is. And we react, respond, adapt accordingly. We participate in that. And what I was essentially going to get at, exclusively, but I'm glad we brought up the life happening to us. Now let's talk about the aspect of how we consciously can enact, intend, and put forth enhancement in our life consciously. Because we can have a certain, like I used in the first video as an example, the morning routine, where we can have just a very loose morning routine, like whether or not you want to admit it, you have some sort of routine. Because it could be, waking up, putting on clothes, going to the bathroom, and heading out. That still counts, right, as a routine. And I like this as an example because not only have I been working with this in my life personally, it's something that we can all relate to. And I feel like in a lot of people's lives, it is a point of contention where, do I go to sleep earlier? Do I wake up earlier? Do I, try to fit a workout in? Should I drink less coffee? Should I drink more water? Should I have a more lean, more minimalist breakfast? Should I fast during the breakfast time? Should I do a walk? Should I knock out this in the morning? Or should I knock it out during my lunch break? Or should I knock it out after work? Right? It's like these types of things that I feel like most of us deal with. It's really interesting how we can talk about it for months and not do anything about it, but have the idea and, like anti-bonus points if you think about it and you don't do anything about it and you feel bad about it for not doing anything about it. It's just like, so congratulations, like you've added feeling guilty about yourself to your routine, like congrats. But in a more serious note, it's very interesting how we can go through like these loops or these spinning of the wheels and not really getting where we want to go, not actually enhancing our lives. So I want to reiterate that because you've experienced it in different ways, but to be more conscious about it is to be more intentional about it, is to be closer to actually getting these things done, getting these things enhanced. So we're using morning routine as an example. Let's just say we want to wake up a little bit earlier, to get out of bed a little earlier, to just map out our I'm gonna think of a more universal example. To wake up earlier, to get out of bed earlier, to get to your notebook so that you can map out your weekend plans, right? Let's just say, like you want to have like a straight up itinerary with certain people, with certain places, with certain things. And, well, let's modify that example, because if it's something that we want to instill in our morning routine just continuously, let's use the notebook for journaling, just general journaling, whether it be for goal settling, like it's settled, like it's done, and it's just journaling about enhancing your life. Boom, done deal. You want to get out of bed earlier. You don't want to do the journaling in your bed. You want to be out of your bed, and you want to be journaling, doing affirmations, doing goal settling, and, let's just say you want a checkbox, you want to knock stuff out, and you want to see the checkbox knocked out. Boom, boom, boom. You want to feel more accomplished. You want not only things to get done in the physical, but you want the feeling at a heart and soul level that you're getting better and better and better. You're enhancing. Right? So you want to add that to your morning routine. So for the first week or so, whatever, we don't have to put a time, stamp, a time limit on it. But the fact that we want it is the fuel, the jet fuel, where even though it's painful, uncomfortable, tense in the short term, right? In plus or minus 1 week, when it becomes the new normal, you're not going against the grain anymore, because it is the grain. It becomes the grain. And then you can keep doing this. You can keep adding more. Let's just say it takes you roughly 10 days to go from pushing uphill tension to, oh, this is my new normal, right? From against the grain to the grain, let's just say it takes about 10 days. So, in theory, you can add something to your life as an enhancement, right? This is beyond morning routine. This is life enhancement. Add something. It's tense. It's, I don't know about the word painful. Let's use it. Existential pain. Like mental, emotional pain. Whatever. Pain. Okay? Temporary pain. Temporary tension for plus or minus 10 days. And then it's the new normal, the new comfort zone. So you've just expanded. This is your new normal. That's freaking awesome. And you add something else. Tense, painful, for 10 days. Not your new normal. Your new level of expanse is larger, wider, deeper, right? This is the depth that we're talking about. And the best part is, all right, awesome, we did it. This is the full circle. The depth that you want. The depth that you, on a heart and soul level, are your depth, right? It's the depth that is you, that you are truly actually proud of, that you can put your name on it. And that name is truthfully where you are and want to be, right? So the expanses, these expanses, this inevitable pain, and some things are going to take more than 10 days. It is what it is, like sobriety as an example, where I'm not going to say like what substances, even though I might have talked about it in previous iterations of myself, right? Previous videos, that substance abuse, substance usage in general, that goes from just like a full-blown like daily usage, like addiction, you give it time and you go against your grain. Now, like hardcore, like hardcore, like Schedule 1, like drugs and just like highly addictive drugs and alcohol. I am not like a drug and alcohol like certified counselor. So you take my words with a grain of salt, because yes, I've dealt with addiction to a relatively light extent compared to like those true blue, just like, functional alcoholics, however many drinks, however many ounces per day, and then like the hardcore drug users where it's like in and out of, rehab, in and out of, like halfway homes, and perhaps in and out of jail. Like, I know people who are in those situations, or they are family members of people in those situations, and it's super tough. And so I will never downplay and never assume knowledge authority in those situations. I'm just saying, to the extent that I've experienced addiction, from addiction to sobriety, yeah, it's an uphill battle. It's painful. It's out of the comfort zone. It's going against the grain for years. And I'm very, very, like, lovingly proud that I've gotten to the point where I'm at. Where, if I want to drink every once in a while, holiday party or family friend thing, cool. I'm very, glad I'm not at a point where, I can have a this and have a that and not have it, completely, turn me inside out. But yeah, things like sobriety, things like heavy cravings in general, like heavy cravings or addictions, call them what you will, but to things like food, gambling, shopping, entertainment, right? As I say, on a streaming platform, right? But, man, this video is going. But we're on a roll. We are on a roll. So, just to get back into it, and for fairness, everything that I'm saying is mattering and connecting. But the full circle aspect is to be the person of your chosen depth. Yes, for fairness, life becomes life and shows you more and more of life. But at the end of the day, it's creating more and more of your balance, something that you can own and cherish. Your balance, your depth, your peace, your clarity, your expansion. And the depth is something, like I said before, depth cannot be bought. You cannot buy depth. And when I talk about depth, it's depth of things that are lost arts, that are the arts in general, of music, of drawing, of painting, of words, just the art. People appreciate art when it is deep, when it has depth, when it has creativity, when it has originality, right? Now, we'll use that. We will use creativity and the arts as something that people of similar depth will only appreciate if they can see it, if they can see the depth. We can only really appreciate, let's play it this way. Yes, a director's first movie, may have been good, and that's legitimately awesome. But even that, a director's first movie, came from a depth of life experiences that translated into a movie, right? So there was depth from the get-go. And then you have the depth of a director's, let's just say, I don't want to put a number to it, but let's just say it, like their 12th or 15th movie, like when they've gone deeper and deeper and deeper, in theory, essentially, like the deeper they go in their director career, yes, they can have branching offs into different genres and different directing styles. That's fine. But when the depth deepens, in theory, and not just directing with anything else, when the depth deepens, there can be more and more of appreciation for it, because you can't buy depth. You can't buy the deeper and deeper life experiences. And if you want to be seen, like me for an example, or any other content creator or person who wants to be recognized and seen and appreciated in their realm of authority, if you truly want to be appreciated in your realm of authority, there are no shortcuts. You need the depth of experience in that particular realm of authority. So that's what I'm doing here. Deeper and deeper depths in the realm of authority of being a deeper and deeper human, and in deeper and deeper expression of creativity, of love and care, of heart and soul. Catch it, right? So yeah, and and in remaining humble, in remaining true and loving for the game of itself, to not try to portray a certain thing, a certain persona, and say, okay, cool, let me just embellish this as it is. So this and so many other things, we'll leave it at this, because in humility and depth, this video has gone on long enough, and in my integrity and boundaries, it's time for this video to end. So until next time, let's show our respects. Respect, deep respect to you, deep respect to me, deep respect to life. The fact that we're surviving, the fact that, whether or not we're doing much of it consciously, we are getting deeper and deeper. And whether or not the conscious choice is something that, we're proud of for now. It's just the fact that every moment is another moment to try again, right? We always get another chance at life. Always, always, always. So I respect you, I respect me, and, shout out to God, to life, for respecting us, for giving us these faculties of body, mind, emotions, soul, physical body, the elements, the fact that we're able to be alive and continue to be alive. Mad respect to all of this. This is Mac 11. Catch you later.